What's good, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the times that Amazon, or just working at Amazon in general, really pisses me off. Times that I just do not want to be there. Now, before we get started, go ahead and drop a like on the video already. Let's see how many likes we can get. Let's see if we can get 50 likes. Go ahead and drop a like on the video down below, and let's get straight into the video. Now, some of these are going to be things that Amazon does that really pisses me off, and then some of them are just going to be things that aren't necessarily Amazon's fault, but it's because that I am there. It does kind of piss me off or stress me out. And we're going to get started straight off with number one on when Amazon pisses me off, and that's when they have you do like 5 or 10 different tasks or positions in one single day. There's nothing worse than going in and then you're like 1 hour or 2 hours in the store, and then they say, hey, can you come work dog? And then you work dog for like an hour or two, and then they say, hey, I'm sorry, we don't need you here anymore, can you go pack? And then you go pack for like an hour or two, and then they're like, hey, can you please go to outbound shipping dock? And then you go to outbound shipping dock and you work there for maybe like 4 or 5 hours, and then they're like, hey, can you please go back to stow? And you're just like, what is going on? There is nothing more stressful and nothing more annoying, and it just really pisses me off when you're sitting there rotating positions all day, not doing one thing. You can't get into the groove of anything because you're doing literally everything. There's nothing worse than having to do several positions in one single day. I hate it. It feels so unorganized. Days like that really annoy me at Amazon, and they're just like, get your stuff together, Amazon, please. You're stressing me out here. Now, for number two on things that stress me out or piss me off when working at Amazon, is when there's literally no stations, there's hardly any work, it's just a slow day in general, but they refuse to offer VTO. I've had a few days like this where they've literally just called a bunch of us and told us to go sit in the break room because either there's not enough stations or there's not enough work. It is extremely slow, and they're like, hey, can you guys please go sit in the break room? And then you'll sit there for about 3 hours, sometimes 5. Sometimes I've seen people sit in the break room for the entire shift. I remember a couple of months ago, maybe this was like more like a year ago, there was a point where our count and pickers were so overstaffed that they would literally sit there for there was like a month straight where they would just sit there in the break rooms all day long, and only a few people would pick and a few people would count, but for the most part, most people would just be sitting around doing nothing. And this went on for like a month straight. And the thing is that they would never drop VTO, and it really upsets me when Amazon is really slow, there's no work, there's no stations, and they will not offer VTO. It is one of the most infuriating things, and it just doesn't make any sense because you're losing money for paying these employees to do pretty much nothing. And not only that, there's people that probably don't want to be there. There's people that are probably already on stations. They were just like, I just want to go home. And if you offered them VTO, they would probably go home, and you would get people who are there and want to work and are fine with working for money. They'll go back on those stations and they'll go do their work, and they'll be completely happy and completely satisfied. It is really annoying and infuriating when Amazon just refuses to offer VTO, even if there's no stations or it's super slow. It's one of the worst times. I hate just sitting in the break room because time goes by so slow, and there's nothing to do. It gets really boring. After a few hours, your phone percentage just keeps dropping, and you run out of things to do on your phone, and you're just like, damn, this is boring. Number 3 on things that Amazon does that really pisses me off. I hate when they only specifically ask me and me only to do a task that they know I hate doing. Now, at my facility, I've let all of my managers pretty much know I hate doing water spider. Do not ask me to do water spider. I hate doing it. It's just as simple as that. I cannot stand doing water spider. I have literally told like 8 different managers, no, I refuse to do water spider. I'm not comfortable doing it. It stresses me out, and I just do not like it. And yet every time they need a water spider, because I know how to do it, they come and ask me first. And what really bothers me about this, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here, but what really bothers me about this is that water spider is something that you could just teach anyone. Literally anyone can learn how to do it. Whenever I learned how to do water spider, I had no idea how to do it. They just threw me on. I never went through water spider training. They just threw me on and said, hey, I'm sorry, we need a water spider right now, you do it. I'm sorry we can't train you, but just learn how to do it on your own. That's how I learned how to do water spider. So how come every time they ask me, how come they don't just grab somebody else? Like, there will be no stations for stow, so there will be like a big line of like 40 people, and they'll come up to me specifically, and I don't know why they do it, because they know I'm gonna say no, and I say no, and then they're just like, and then they don't ask anybody else. They're like, we'd rather just not have a water spider than train somebody. It makes no sense at all. And one of the most dumbest and most infuriating things about working at Amazon is when they come to you specifically, and in my case me specifically, and ask, hey, can you do this, when there's many other qualified people or many other people they could teach, and instead they just decide not to. They just want you and you only to do that position. I hate it. It's annoying. And now number 4, this one isn't really necessarily Amazon's fault. It's not really anybody's fault, but when you're having a really stressful time outside of Amazon and then you have to come in and do things like stow or pick or anything like that, because eventually when you've been at Amazon for a while, after a few months, you start to learn those things so good that it just becomes muscle memory. At some point you learn how to stow so well that doing this all day, putting items into bins all day, just becomes muscle memory to the point where you don't even have to pay attention to working at all. You can literally just think all day. And when you're having a really stressful time outside of Amazon, whatever you're going through outside of work that's really causing you to be stressed, or maybe you're sad, maybe a little bit depressed, any of that, or maybe you're just mad about something outside of work, whenever you're having a bad time out of work and you have to come in and do things like stow for 10 hours or pick for 10 hours, things that just don't require you to use your brain pretty much at all at some point, when you have to come in and do those things, it gets really stressful and it could just overtake you. Your emotions can overcome you. You could start getting a little bit of anxiety. And I've had so many days where it's just been so overwhelmingly stressful because something is going on outside of work, something completely unrelated to the actual workday itself, that I just start to overthink because I'm sitting there, of course, for like 10 hours. You're not allowed to have phones and you're not allowed to listen to music or anything like that. And sometimes you just can't get away with that stuff. So you just sit there, no phones, no music, and you're just stowing, and eventually it could just become overwhelmingly stressful. It sucks. Those are one of the things that really makes me mad about Amazon, is that the work is honestly really boring and it becomes very easy to do. Once you get to a certain point, you'll be able to just do it with muscle memory. And once you learn how to do that, sometimes it could be your worst nightmare, your worst enemy, because you'll start to overthink, you'll start to get really stressed. And honestly, that's one of my least favorite things about working at Amazon, and sometimes it can get really annoying. But those are just 4 things that really piss me off about working at Amazon, or when Amazon pisses me off. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought, and what are some things that really make you mad about working at Amazon. I'm gonna go ahead and make another one of these videos for sure. Sorry for only doing 4. Sorry, why did I do that? Sorry for only doing 4. I usually do 5, but today I just came up with 4. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll definitely make a part 2. And again, leave a like if you haven't already. Go ahead and like the video if you haven't already. If you enjoyed anything that I said in this video, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace.